So I started off with the apron that we purchased. Nothing crazy, just grabbed a couple scoops left over from the coffee pot of the coffee grounds, added some water, and used a chip brush to just kind of add a layer of grunge before I added it to the nurse and painted the rest of the costume. Then I started off with the costume by filling the hands with foam. They were made out of latex and kind of flimsy, so I wanted to add some stability to them, and you'll find out why later on in the video. Using the Great Stuff Pro Gun attachment, sticking it down into each fingers, you could use the one with the straw, and filling it up till it comes out the back of the hands at the wrists. Now I'm just going through and painting on some sweat stains. I'm doing this before I put the apron on to make sure that I don't have to spray over it. Now I've added the apron, and I'm just going through with a pale yellow spray paint, and then a brown spray paint, and then a black spray paint on top of that. And I keep layering as I go, working in all the high traffic areas, so the wrists, the armpits, the neck, the base. Now at the bottom I'm using a piece of cardboard and black spray paint, and I'm creating the look of tears in the base of the fabric. I don't actually want to rip the fabric just because you'll be able to see the stand below it. Now I'm going ahead and putting the arms back on. The foam has hardened up enough to where it's not sticky. Again, I continue going through with some black spray paint, and here's the results. Here I'm going ahead and I'm gluing some eyeballs we made. Now moving on to making some of the accessories, mainly the syringes and the bandage for the eyes. I'm just using some syringes I bought off of Amazon. They have a really blunt tip and a wide, I wouldn't say needle, but tube on the end. I'm using yellow spray paint, and now I'm using clear spray paint and glow pigment from Stuart Semple. I'll leave a link down below. I'm using their green and blue glow powder. I'm spraying down in and using a straw to drop the glow powder down to the bottom, putting the plunger in, and then shaking it. The spray paint helps hold the plunger in place so it won't move, and then the syringes will glow later on. So I made probably around 12 of these in 2 different sizes and 4 different colors. It was fairly straightforward to make, but they really look cool and have an awesome impact on the end result. Here, I'm just getting started on the replacement gauze for her eyes. Now I'm just going in with some alcohol and just removing some of the original paint. Going in with some yellow paint under the eyes because I'm going to go back in and repaint it so she doesn't have those scratch marks because I didn't really like them. I added some black to the mouth, and now I'm going in and airbrushing a new skin tone on top. We wanted her to look like an old lady who was wearing a lot of makeup. I'm now going in and cutting out slits in the eye holes. I wanted to add some depth here. It just kind of looked to me like she was squinting in the original prop. I'm just using the X-Acto knife to remove some of the foam that's inside the head. I'm now going to go in with some foam clay. I'm just taking some pieces and shoving it in each eye cavity. This is the progress so far. Now I'm going in and I'm adding some veining on the side of her body where we'll be adding some of the virus needles. Nothing too crazy, just something subtle on that one side of the head. I'm now just going in with a brush and doing some heavy drips with the PermaBlood around the eyes, and then using a rubber glove just to rub it around and mess it up a bit, and then hot gluing an Umbrella Corporation patch to the top of her head. Now I'm going in and I'm fitting all the syringes and needles. Once I had them in place, I hot glued them to make sure that they didn't move. And then I'm going in with the airbrush and I'm just adding some final detailing, dirtying up some of the syringes and securing everything in place. I added an Umbrella Corporation patch to her apron and then dirtied that up as well. And then I'm going in now and adding a bandage to her hand. Just kind of seemed like it made sense to me and I had the extra fabric. And now I'm fitting her eye bandage. Now I'm going in and just adding blood to the eyeballs. I like to build it up slowly. It's a fine line between, just enough and too much. So I really like to work slowly with these props. Just using a paintbrush. I definitely recommend using gloves. Always a do as I say, not as I do situation with the PermaBlood. And definitely wouldn't recommend doing it in the house. Here's the results before I take it outside and do the final blood splatter and spray paint. And now the fun part, adding all the blood. I'm using a chip brush and standing back and flinging it on, brushing some onto the fingertips of my gloves and smearing it around, and just standing back and seeing how it looks as I go. I'm then going to go through with some black spray paint and just touch up any areas I missed. And here's the final result. I think she turned out really great, and to be honest, I think this is more in line of what the original idea of the prop was before it got scaled back for the masses. But she turned out great, and we hope y'all enjoyed. Ha ha ha!